Kling 3.0 might honestly be the best AI video generator. This clip right here has multiple camera angles, smooth transitions, and character consistency across every single shot, all generated from a single prompt. Usually, AI video is a total lottery. You burn through $20 in credits just to get one usable clip with normal hands and stable physics. Kling claims it can deliver that level of quality without constant re-rolling. So in this video, I'm putting that to the test. I'll show you how to make cinematic shots in Kling 3.0, then I'll compare it to Veo and Sora, and I'll tell you which one is actually worth paying for. Kling 3.0 is getting so much attention right now because of one specific upgrade called the AI Director. This is more than a small update, and it changes how video generation works. With Sora 2, you have to storyboard everything yourself. With Veo, you're stuck in one continuous shot, and Kling takes care of the cinematography for you. You describe a scene, and it generates the establishing shots, close-ups, and cuts, all on its own, up to 15 seconds long. On top of that, Elements 3.0 lets you upload a reference clip to lock in your character's appearance and voice, plus it generates native audio, so your visuals, dialogue, and sound effects are created simultaneously. So the promise is a model that acts like a director and not just a tool. The question is whether any of this actually works when you put it to the test, and that's exactly what we're about to find out. For this comparison, I'm using Higgsfield. It's an all-in-one platform that gives access to Kling, Sora, Veo, and more than a dozen other models under one subscription. They also gave us early access to Kling 3.0 for this video. Once you're on the Higgsfield dashboard, you'll see the main categories across the top: image, video, edit, and character. Hover over video, and you'll see different workflows like Cinema Studio, Lip Sync Studio, and Draw to Video. For our comparison, I'm using Create Video. On the left side, you'll see a drop-down for model selection, and this is where you pick which AI model powers your generation. You can switch between Kling, Sora 2, Veo 1, and others, all from the same interface. This section includes settings for resolution, duration, and aspect ratio. And over here, there's a library of camera presets, over 50 different cinematic movements, which you can apply to almost any model. So everything we're about to compare was generated inside the same platform with the exact same prompts, which means the only variable is the model itself. I ran 5 different prompts through all 3 models, mixing text to video and image to video to test different capabilities. For each one, I'm looking at whether it followed the prompt, how the camera work turned out, visual quality, character consistency, and whether the motion looks natural or glitchy. Let's start with the first test. This first prompt is designed to test the AI Director. It's designed asking for multiple camera angles and different shot types in a single run. I'll type, a detective enters an abandoned warehouse, starting with a wide shot of the dusty interior, cutting to a medium shot as he examines a broken chair, then a close-up of his face as he notices something in the shadows. I'll start with Sora 2. It tries to cut at the 4-second point, but continuity, lighting, and spatial logic fail to hold together. It technically produces multiple angles. It can't maintain a consistent set or atmosphere. Veo falls into the same trap. What's that? And produces multiple shots, but lighting and spatial consistency break down, so the scene doesn't fully hold. In fact, the lighting here looks worse than Sora's. It's overly vibrant in a way that immediately reads as AI, producing depth and realism. It delivers more shot variation, though without a stable cinematic through line. But then you look at Kling 3.0, and this is where it gets interesting. What stands out right away is how smoothly it moves between shots. The cuts feel natural, the pacing makes sense, and the character stays consistent the whole time. The lighting feels strong and consistent across angles, which helps everything feel like it exists in the same physical space. This is the intended result from the AI Director, with controlled transitions, consistent continuity, and a scene that feels naturally cinematic. For this prompt, it really comes down to Sora versus Kling. Sora gets close in terms of motion, but it falls apart on continuity and lighting. Kling 3.0 is the one that fully delivers on what was asked for, making it the clear winner in this comparison. Next, I'm testing fast motion and environmental effects across each model. I'll type, a motorcycle races through rain-soaked city streets at night, water spraying from the tires, neon reflections streaking across wet pavement, camera tracking alongside at high speed. Starting with Sora 2. The motion here feels cinematic, and the camera tracking is smooth. Sora has consistently been strong with dynamic motion, and the environmental effects feel natural. What holds it back a bit is that cinematic rain in Sora tends to soften the image and reduce clarity. On the other hand, Veo 3.1 leans hard into a cinematic look. The detail is strong, the lighting feels grounded, and the motion physics are believable. However, similar to Sora, adding rain tends to soften the image and reduce clarity. It looks great, but the energy isn't quite there. Kling 3.0, meanwhile, absolutely nailed the energy. The motion feels fast and dynamic, exactly matching what I described. The environmental effects look great, and there's a real sense of weight to the movement. This one is essentially a tie between Sora and Kling. Sora's result is a bit muddier in quality, but if you're aiming for a more cinematic feel, it still works well. Kling, on the other hand, leans more photorealistic and physically grounded, which makes it the better option when realism matters most. Now I want to test facial expressions and subtle emotion, which is where AI video has historically struggled the most. I'll type, a young woman receives unexpected news on a phone call, her expression shifting from curiosity to shock to quiet devastation, a single tear rolling down her cheek, and she processes what she's heard. Hey, what happened? I'm sorry, there was an accident. This ring, I did everything I could. Wait, you're still in the whole just car. Sora 2 looks good initially, but subtle emotional shifts don't come through in the expression. After she learns the news, there's no visible reaction, no subtle facial movement, no tear forming. Nothing that actually sells the emotion. On top of that, the voice delivery comes across as slightly uncanny and disconnected. The lighting and composition are solid, but emotionally the scene comes across as robotic rather than organic. Switching over to Veo 3.1, and it's actually really impressive in some areas. Theo does a better job with faces than the other two, keeping them from looking overly artificial. That said, the lighting is weaker and flattens the scene, and the tears themselves look slightly unreal, which undercuts the emotional moment. On top of that, the expression still feels more subdued than requested, as if it played it safe, rather than fully committing to the emotional range. Kling 3.0 takes a bigger swing with the expression, and it fits the prompt more closely. I see. The emotional shift lands more strongly, and it is shown clearly in the face. The tear itself looks very real, but the way it appears feels slightly unnatural, which can be distracting if you're watching closely. Character consistency is strong, and the face clearly remains the same person throughout the transition. Overall, this one goes to Kling. The facial performance isn't perfect, but it commits more clearly to the requested emotion and matches the prompt better than Veo. Now let's test image to video, because a lot of creators start with a reference image and want to bring it to life. I'll upload this reference image and type, the character walks through a crowded evening market, glancing at the stalls with curiosity, camera following from behind before circling around to reveal their face. With Sora, the overall look of the reference is preserved and the motion feels solid with smooth camera movement. The main limitation is that it never follows the direction I asked for, so the intended reveal simply doesn't happen. Veo stays grounded in the same world visually, with lighting and spatial logic that feel consistent throughout the shot. The motion is more conservative, giving the scene a stable, worn atmosphere. As with Sora, the specific camera movement I asked for didn't actually happen. The circling move to reveal the face never materialized. But this is where Clean, with its new elements 3.0, is meant to shine, and it absolutely delivers. The environment and clothing remain very well preserved throughout the shot, even as the camera moves and the angle changes. The motion is more dynamic than Theo, while staying controlled, and it follows the intended movement exactly as requested. Klim wins this one on environment preservation, and is the only model here that follows the camera movement as requested. The last test focuses on multiple subjects with complex interactions. I'll type, a street musician plays violin on a busy corner. While pedestrians walk past, a young child stops to listen and drops a coin in the open case, and a stray dog curls up at the musician's feet. Thank you, Lou. Sora actually surprised me here. The interactions look more natural than expected, and the scene feels cohesive, with solid environmental detail and lighting that helps tie everything together. That said, there's still an AI feel to it, and it becomes more noticeable after the first moment. Veo 3.1, on the other hand, handled the multiple subjects less cleanly. Some of the interactions feel simplified, and while the output is polished, the scene carries a noticeable, uncanny quality. The lighting looks a bit off and unnatural, and it keeps the world from feeling fully grounded. Kling 3.0 makes the scene feel more grounded and realistic through its motion and interactions. However, it doesn't reach the same emotional depth as Sora, and the expressions and reactions don't land as strongly. This one is a tie between Sora and Kling. Across all 5 tests, Kling came out with 3 clear wins and 2 ties. A big reason these comparisons were easy to run is because Higgsfield brings all the models together in one place. Instead of juggling separate subscriptions for Kling, Sora, and Veo, you just choose the model you want and generate. To try Kling 3.0 and run your own comparisons, check the link in the description. Try it out for yourself, explore what it can do with your own ideas, and I'll see you in the next one.